Namaste viewers, I'm Neeta Rawal and I am a Hindustani. We Hindustanis have this speciality that wherever in the world we may go, we carry our culture, our customs and our tradition along with us. So this year when I was coming to Canada to visit my children, what I did is I brought these yellow threads with me because the Mahalaxmi vrat I knew would come, during my visit here. So what's special about these strings is that we gather 16 raw cotton strings, we gather them together and then we tie 16 knots in each string. So it has 16 strings and 16 knots in each of these strings that we make. Then we tie them on our right hand while performing the puja, and after the puja we take them off and then we continue with the fast, of course, because puja is done midway, around 4 o'clock in the evening, and then you can even have a glass of water. Though this fast otherwise is totally, without eating anything during the whole day and without even drinking anything during the whole day, apart from that one time when you can either have water or tea, any one liquid, that's it. So let me begin with the katha without wasting much time. The story goes like this, that there was once a king. His name was Raja Mangal Sen. He had two queens, Umni and Dumni. He loved his younger queen Dumni, and the elder queen Umni was due to some reason given a cottage, a hut, kind of apartment, small apartment in the kingdom. And she had to ask for her rations every day, whatever she had to cook. And this was how it was going on. The kingdom was a prosperous kingdom and everyone in the kingdom was happy. But there was only one bone of contention, that the king did not have any children. So he always used to remain very sad because of that. So once, he goes for hunting somewhere and there he meets a sage. The sage gives him these yellow threads and tells him to give them to his queen to wear them on her right hand and perform the vrat on the Mahalaxmi day. Now, just before the Mahalaxmi day, the king gives the threads to his younger queen, Dumni, and he tells her the complete procedure of how to keep the fast. Now, Dumni takes those threads, but then, she thinks that my arms are all full of gold and I'm wearing such beautiful jewelry. These cotton threads will not look good on my hands. So what she does is she just throws them against a wall, and on the other side of the wall was the stable of the horses where the king tied his horses. So the stones, she just throws the threads over there. Next day, when the woman who cleans the stables comes there, and in her basket she gathers all, the dirt from there and tries to carry the basket, but she finds the basket to be very heavy. She is very surprised that why is it that the basket is so heavy and I'm not being able to carry it. So she just spreads all the dirt on the floor and she finds the Mahalaxmi threads in that. So she understands that this is the reason why I was not being able to lift the basket, because she knows what threads are these and what is their importance. She just washes them, dries them and keeps them with herself. Next day she goes to the elder queen Umni because she is more approachable, and then she gives those threads to Umni and she tells them the importance of these threads and she tells them how to keep the fast. So Umni, she really, with reverence, she puts them on her forehead, she touches them on her forehead and accepts the threads and decides to keep the fast. Then she goes to the minister, who gives her the rations every day, her share of the food every day. And she asks him for some special stuff which he needs to keep the fast. So the minister tells her that he would give it to her, but he has to take permission from the king. The minister goes to the king to take permission, and the king then starts wondering that how come the elder queen has these threads whereas I'd given them to the younger queen. So he goes to the apartment of the younger queen and asks her, where are those threads and are you going to fast tomorrow? So the younger queen tells him the whole thing truthfully, that this is the reason, I just threw them. King gets very angry and orders that she be given, she orders her to just go away from the kingdom. So when she's wandering, afar, she just goes and wanders in the jungles and she's trying to look for some shelter. She suddenly sees a hut there, a cottage, where there's a lamp burning. So she goes to the cottage and she realizes that there's no one in the cottage. So she goes inside the cottage and closes the door from inside. In the evening, the cottage belonged to a hermit. The hermit came back from his rounds of begging his alms, and he knocks at the door. He's very surprised that who's inside my cottage. So from inside, Dumni says that I will open the door only if you promise me one thing, that you will take me as a daughter and you will be my father from today. The hermit says, okay, I promise that from today we will be father and daughter. She opens the door and they start living together as father and daughter. Now Dumni tells him the entire story of her misfortune. The hermit says, okay, you have to rectify it, and next year I'll get you the threads and you keep the fast and everything will be fine. A year passes like that, and here the king's elder queen already has a son, and Dumni, the younger one, the hermit gets her the threads and she keeps the fast with complete reverence and properly. A few days later, the king once again goes to the jungles for hunting. Now, as the day passes, he goes deep into the jungles and he only could hunt one single quail that day. That's it. He did not find any other thing to hunt. And it becomes night, and so what they do is he and his minister just pitch up a tent somewhere in the jungle, and he tells the minister to go cook the quail and come back because he's very hungry. The minister goes and finds the same cottage in which Dumni was staying with the hermit, and when he knocks at the door, he finds a beautiful woman, inside the cottage, and he asks her, if he asks her for permission if he can roast the quail there. She gives him the permission. Now, while roasting the quail, the minister laughs and cries at the same time. So, she is very intrigued and she asks him, what is this you're doing? You're laughing and you're crying at the same time. What is this? So the minister says that I'm laughing because I'm seeing that a pretty woman like you, who's meant to be a queen, what is she doing here in the hermit's cottage in the deep jungles here? And why I'm crying is because while looking at you, I've burnt the quail, and now I don't know, the king is very hungry. He might just behead me or give me any severe punishment. The queen says, don't worry, give me the quail. And what she does is she washes it with milk and she rectifies it with some spices and gives it to him. And she says, now your king won't say anything. Go and feed it to your king. The minister comes back with the quail to the king. The king, as soon as he eats the quail, remembers his younger queen, whom he loved a lot otherwise. And he says, where did you get this quail from? Because this tastes exactly like my younger queen made it. I'm sure you did not make it. The minister agrees and he takes him to the cottage where the younger queen is. As soon as the king sees her, he apologizes and he tells her to come back with him to the kingdom. But now Dumni says that, see, I'm not just your wife now anymore because you turned me out. Now I'm living with a hermit who's my father, and you have to ask for my hand from the hermit to take me back, and you have to take his permission. The king agrees. In the evening, when the hermit comes back, the king asks for his daughter's hand. The hermit knows the whole story, so he says, of course, she's yours and you can take her, but take her tomorrow in a palanquin, which is known as doli in Hindi. So next day, the king comes with a beautifully decorated palanquin or a doli to take his wife back to the kingdom. Now the hermit decides to test his so-called daughter. So what he does is he gives her a bowl full of set yogurt, dahi, we call it. And he tells her that you take this along with you, and if the yogurt, the water from the yogurt comes out, like, it leaves water, because, and if the water spills out of the bowl, then just understand that your father is no more. So just take it with you and you can leave now. So he gives them his blessings and lets them go. Now, as the palanquin is moving, naturally, because it moves, the yogurt and the water, the water comes off from the yogurt, and as it moves further, it spills out of the bowl. Now, Dumni says to the king that I need to go back immediately because it seems my father is in trouble. The king takes her back to where the hermit was, and they see that hermit is perfectly fine and healthy. She tells him that she goes running to him and tells him that I got so worried because as you had said, the yogurt has left the water and the water even spilled. He says, of course it would, as the palanquin was moving. But I just wanted to test you, I wanted to check your love for me, and in which you have, of course, succeeded. And you have truly believed me to be your father, and now God bless you, and you will have plenty of children. Go have a happy life. So here the story ends. And I must tell you that while saying the story, 16 times what we do is with these threads, we take these black grams soaked, or else we take these chana dal soaked, and we say 16 tanda, 16 ganda, like this. We put them in front of a clay horse and we say 16 tanda, 16 ganda, Rani puje Rajnu, मैं पूजा सुहागनु. That way, during different intervals of this story, as we tell them, we take a pause and we do this ritual, you may call it. So this is the end of the katha, and the fast is broken after offering water, we call it arg, to the stars. As soon as the stars come up in the sky in the evening, we offer arg and we open the fast with something sweet, of course, and a glass of water. Namaskar.